Hello, friends. My name is Jason Alsamri. For the last 8 years, when someone asks me, "What do you do for a living?" I've told them, I'm a YouTube channel manager. That usually leads to one of two responses. The first being, "Oh." The second being, "How many subscribers do you have?" Before I address these, it's important to talk about the difference between a content manager and a content creator. A content creator is what you think of when you go onto social media, an influencer, someone who creates content. A content manager is someone who manages that content on these platforms. Another difference is that content creators have an external focus. They're typically looking at what other types of content the audience is watching. A content manager has an internal focus. They're looking at making sure that the content they're responsible for is getting out on the platforms on time. All influencers are content creators, but not all content creators are content managers. A YouTube channel manager is fundamentally a content manager. A YouTube channel manager begins at a very basic level. Like all content managers, they have to take the video files and make sure they get uploaded, make sure the titles and thumbnails are applied, and that they get published on time. Another component can be, and often is, reporting. That is, taking the automatic reports or generating reports from YouTube Analytics in order to show revenue, watch time, click-through rate, things like that. These two things are the basis of a YouTube channel manager, but they're not all that a YouTube channel manager can do. Going beyond this, you get into data and analytics. That is to say, you're not just reporting the information, but you're drawing conclusions and applying them. Typically, you'll see this on changing titles or the types of tags you're using, search engine optimization on that regards, or platform optimization. That could be changes to the thumbnails, the types of overlays you're using, when you're using them, things like that. At a higher level, it's an audience development position for owned media, and this has been my focus for the last several years. I've been looking at the content that's being made, determining whether or not it should be on YouTube, if it should be on YouTube, how we should optimize it. There are serious ramifications for this level. I have decided series shouldn't be published on YouTube. I've suggested major changes for content that is being put out on YouTube, and I've also suggested new content to go out. Whether it succeeds or fails, I have to own that. It's also important to say that this is a very focused position because what does well on YouTube often is not going to do well on Facebook or Instagram. An external viewpoint does come into play at this point because you're looking at your audience, you're determining what they engage with on your channel, and then you also have to see what else they're engaging with, how those trends are changing in your verticals, and you have to adapt. A lot of collaboration comes into play at this level. I've worked with the paid media teams, I've worked with internal production, such as the directors, producers, and writers. I've managed third-party vendors and external influencers that we've brought in to be as talent. It's sort of a content manager meets showrunner meets data analyst position. Going back to the second reaction at the start of this video, I have 0 subscribers, at least at the time of this recording. I've never wanted to be in a highly visible content creator role. I thought at most I'd want to be a voice actor. So why am I doing this? Well, as I've told every out-of-touch hiring manager who's asked me, why do I want this job? I'm a fan of food and not being unhoused. I'm also one of the 120,000 and counting people who's been laid off this year. I've spent almost a decade growing other people's channels, and as uncomfortable as I may be stepping in front of the camera, I decided it's time to try to put my money where my mouth is. If you would like to know more about my credentials, please check out my LinkedIn profile and follow me while you're at it. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm going to try to stick to a schedule of one how-to YouTube video per week, but once I do find full-time work, it may become a little more intermittent. I will also try to put out some entertaining things, but I do have limited production capabilities. I hope that you join me in this experiment of starting my own channel, and I'll see you next week.